Hi, welcome. Exactly what I wanted to talk about. Welcome. Last story I did, if you saw it or not, on the Mentor Project is what's called Thank You, Thank You, a love note to you. I was told around the same time as Thanksgiving, which I thought was extremely appropriate. But it then occurred to me that there is an often response to thank you, and that is, you are welcome. What does that actually mean? Actually, it has more to do with welcoming people, making them feel at home and safe. And I suppose you're wondering why I'm holding up this red door. For those of you who can see, red doors are actually a symbol of welcome. So if you happen to be walking down in the neighborhood, here we go, you might come across a red door. And that means that the people inside are welcoming you. So I look for those in my neighborhood and I see them often. So today's story is a welcoming story, and I have told it before, and I like it a lot. So I'm going to tell it in my way with a new medium that is part puppet and part feltboard. For those of you who are not acquainted with feltboard, it's a great medium because what it allows you to do is to take characters from the story and attach them, and felt sticks to felt. So I'm going to warn you, uh, full disclosure here, this felt board has been with me for a long time. And even though it is now disguised as a door, it's a book that I made into a felt board book. And with any luck at all, and that's what sometimes reveal, it will work. So the story I'm going to tell you, which is called May I Bring a Friend, has two puppet characters in it and some felt characters that are added. The story is not mine, and I told it. The author of the story and the artist too, who won a Caldecott for his artwork, is a 1964 book by Beatrice Schenck de Rigières, and it talks about a very well-mannered little boy who is often invited to tea at the palace of the king and the queen. Our story today will be told by me with not a lot of changes in characters, but certainly a lot of changes in language so that you will think about who you might bring to a party invited by the king and queen. Also, so should you decide you'd like to make a felt board book, this is made out of foam core covered with felt, you got it. And I made a pocket in here to keep my characters if I need them. And I made it with a lot of teachers. I'm going to put my book down here and not lift it up very often until and I'll show you as each of the characters comes in. Will they be in order of the book? I don't know. Maybe they will and maybe they won't. But I thought first, maybe you would join me in creating this little boy who is always asking questions. And of course, the most prevalent question in our story is, may I bring a friend? And the king and the queen in today's part is played by the royalty, no gender in our story. And that's my story. Here he is. I don't know his name. If you want to name him something, you can. But if you know it, here he is. He's the same kind of character, just a plain character. Not a whole lot going on with him, except his nose looks like a question mark. Why? Because he's always asking questions. So we're going to open up our book and take out the royalty, who also is asking questions. So this is how it's going to go. Once upon a time, there was a little boy who was always asking questions. He was very well mannered. He was so well mannered that the king and or queen or royalty would often ask him to tea. And he would ask, may I bring a friend? And the royals would say, any friend of yours is always welcome. And so goes our story. First thing we're going to do is open up our book and place the royal on our book. And because the royal is made of felt, the royal, with any luck at all, should stick inside. So we go. May I bring a friend? And the royal said, any friend of yours is welcome here. And so our hero brought the first friend. And the first friend was a seal. The seal went into his house and they had a cup of tea. Let's see how it works. A seal having a cup of tea and saying, bark, bark, because that's what seals did. The very next day, or perchance two, the royal asked again our friend to tea. And our friend said, may I bring a friend? And of course the royal said, any friend of yours is always welcome. And so he brought an elephant to tea. And the elephant had a huge glass of milk, slurped it right up, and came to tea. Now, the very next day, or two or three, the royal asked if the boy would like to come to tea. And of course he said, may I bring a friend? And they said, any friend of yours is always welcome. And so he said, may I bring a hippopotamus? And so he did. He brought a hippopotamus to see tea and perchance coffee and cake. Because hippos, as you know, love coffee and cake. At least I hope you know that. Let's see what's happening now. Oh. Now, the very next day, the king and or the queen or the royal asked if he would like to come for pizza. Pizza? I would love to come for pizza, but may I bring a friend? And they said, any friend of yours is welcome here. And so he brought a lion. And the lion went into the castle, woo, and sat himself right down next to the royal and immediately began to roar. But the royal was very welcoming, and that was good. A week passed, and even though it was very crowded at the castle with all of the animals there, they invited him to tea. And he said, I would love to come to tea, but what else do you have? And they said, well, perchance we will have bananas, which was a good thing to say because this time he wanted to bring a monkey. So he brought a monkey to tea, 2 bananas, maybe banana bread, and it was good. Now, not 1 or 2, but 3 days passed, and the young man was asked to tea again. And he said, what else do you have but tea? And they said, well, how about a salad? Well, that was good because, as you know, and I know, giraffes love to eat fresh green leaves. And so he brought a giraffe for the salad. Now, the very next week, oh, excuse me, let's see, who is a tea? Oh, fantastic. The very next week, again, he was invited to have dessert, a beautiful chocolate cake. But this time he said, why don't you come to my place and we will make you tea? And so the queen, the king, the royal children, and anyone else who lived in the castle got on their bus. They had a royal bus. And they went to where all of his friends lived. And there they were indeed very welcomed to the zoo. Any friend of yours is always welcome, said the king and the Queen. A welcoming song, a reminder that when someone says thank you and you say you are welcome, that means that they are always, always welcome to be your friend, to be grateful, to be one recipient of goodness as you are. Welcome is an old tradition, the term welcome, at least 1,000 years old, and in every language it is said in a different way. Recently, there was a movie with lyrics by a lovely gentleman who wrote many favorites. And though I can't sing it to you, I can read you some of what he said. His name was Lin Manuel Miranda, and his song is called You're Welcome, sung in the movie Moana. And where it goes is in a variety of places, sung by, of course, our big hero whose name was Maui. What can I say except you're welcome? For the tides, the sun, the sky. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. I'm just an ordinary guy, said Maui. We know that's not true. But the closing of the song is something that I will sing to you, not sing, say. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, and thank you. I hope you had a week of gratitude, a week of thanks, a week of welcoming people into your lives. This is Marilyn Price on the Mentor Project. You can re-watch, re-listen on our Facebook, on LinkedIn. Oh yeah, on a podcast too. I thank you for coming, and I hope that you will listen, look and be careful, and welcome someone into your life. And that, of course, is the truth.